when your racism covers for your corruption. Donald Trump posted a vile racist image of Michelle and Barack Obama depicted as apes today. Listen to that again. Don't skim over it. Don't scroll past this. Don't file it away as just another day in Trump world. Do not let that numbness win. The President of the United States posted an image that dehumanizes a former president and First Lady of the United States using the oldest, most grotesque racial imagery in the American catalog of hate. This is the imagery of slave auctions and minstrel shows, of lynch mobs and segregationist pamphlets, of every dark chapter we told ourselves we had closed. This is shocking even in these disturbing times, even by Trump's standards, standards that have cratered through every floor we once believed existed, and this should stop you cold. But here's what I need you to understand. This is not madness, this is method. Trump didn't post that image because he woke up feeling especially hateful on a Thursday morning. He posted it because he is drowning, and racism is the only lifeline he knows how to grab. Look at what's happening around him right now. All of it, at once. His polling numbers aren't declining, they're collapsing. The kind of collapse that sends operatives updating resumes and donors quietly closing their checkbooks. Every election, every special race, every ballot measure over the past year has sent the same message. No, the corruption has reached breathtaking proportions. Bribes, self-dealing, influence peddling on a scale that would make a Gilded Age robber baron blush. Their grift isn't even hidden anymore. It's done in broad daylight with the casual arrogance of a man who believes accountability is something that only happens to other people. Unemployment is climbing. The dollar is weakening. The economic foundation he promised to strengthen is cracking under the weight of chaos governance and policy by tantrum. Working families, the very people he swore he would fight for, are watching their purchasing power evaporate. And in the streets of America, something else is happening. The resistance is no longer theoretical. It's not just tweets and op-eds. People are marching. People are organizing. People are showing up in numbers that should terrify everyone inside that White House. So what does Donald Trump do when the walls start closing in? He reaches for the oldest weapon in the American demagogue's arsenal. This is a pattern as old as our republic. When the powerful are caught with their hands in the till, they point at a black family, the one next door, and say that they're the real problem. When the economy sours and the questions get harder, they don't answer the questions. They change the subject to race. They always change the subject to race. It worked for the plantation class when poor whites began asking why they were starving while the big house feasted. It worked for segregationists when the New Deal threatened to unite the working class across racial lines. It worked for decades of politicians who learned you could rob people blind as long as you gave them someone darker to look down on. Trump didn't invent this playbook. He just runs it with the subtlety of a man who has never once in his life needed subtlety. Every time a story breaks about the corruption, every revelation about the deals, the payoffs, the Epstein files, the stunning self-enrichment, watch what follows. There will be a racial provocation, a slur, an attack on a black public figure, a Latino community, a Muslim family. It comes like clockwork because it is clockwork, mechanical, strategic. The provocation sucks all of the oxygen out of the room. Cable news spends 48 hours debating whether the racist thing was racist. Pundits are summoned to provide both sides. The corruption slides below the fold. The cycle resets. And the grift continues. Calling this strategic does not make it less evil. It makes it more evil. A man who deploys racism as a calculated instrument of distraction is worse than one who does it from pure hatred. He knows exactly what that imagery does, exactly what wounds it opens, exactly what terror it invokes. And he has decided that your pain is useful to his survival. He looked at the legacy of the first black president and first lady of the United States, two people who served with dignity under pressure most of us cannot imagine. And he reduced them to a centuries-old caricature designed to deny their humanity. Not because he couldn't help himself, because it was useful. That is what corruption does to power. It consumes everything. It will burn every norm, every institution, every shred of decency, every vulnerable community in its path, if that's what it takes to keep the scheme alive just one more day. And it doesn't stop at images on a screen. Look at what's happening on the ground. The ICE raids sweeping across this country are not random. They are targeting brown-skinned Spanish speakers in communities, in workplaces, on the streets where the common denominator isn't visa status. It's skin color and language. American citizens have been swept up. Legal residents have been detained. Families who have been here for generations are living in fear because they look like the people this administration has chosen to vilify. This is the same play running on a parallel track. The dehumanizing image of the Obamas and the ICE agent pulling a father out of his car in front of his children are not separate policies. They are the same policy. They exist so Americans are afraid of each other instead of paying attention to who is actually robbing them. Every raid is a headline that isn't about corruption. Every terrified community is too consumed with survival to organize against the grift. This is racism as governance. And all of it exists to cover the corruption. So what do we do with this? We refuse to separate the racism from the corruption. That's the trap. The moment we treat the racist images as one story and the collapsing economy, the bribery, the lawlessness, the anti-constitutionalism as separate from one another, we've already lost. They're the same story. The racism is the corruption's bodyguard. It's fog machine. It's escape route. We don't look away. We don't allow this to become even more normal than we already have. The exhaustion is intentional. The volume is intentional. It's meant to wear you down until you accept what should never be accepted. But the day we shrug at a president posting dehumanizing images of Black Americans is the day we surrender something we cannot reclaim. And finally, we must listen to what the streets are telling us. The American people are not numb. They are not defeated. They are showing up at the ballot box. They are showing up in their communities in real numbers. Those collapsing poll numbers aren't an accident. They are a verdict. Trump is reaching for racism because corruption has left him with nothing else. The economy isn't saving him. The courts aren't saving him. The voters aren't saving him. All he has left is the ugliest card in the deck. And he's playing it like a man who knows the game is almost up. Don't let him change the subject. The corruption is the story. The racism is how he wants you to forget it. Don't forget it.